Hello, I'm Peter Morin and I decided to record this road trip from Evenlode, Maidenhead Berks to the Bush Hotel, Wokingham Berks. In 1967 and 68, for 7 to 8 months, I used to cycle this route 4 times a day as I lived in the Evenlode Maisonettes, the top left-hand Maisonette as we're looking at them now, and worked as an apprentice chef at the Bush Hotel. We started at 7:30, finished at 2 p.m, and then back for 5:30 p.m. till 10 p.m. I've got 8 grown-up kids and numerous grandkids, so I thought I'd show them how good we had it back then, trying to get to work every day. Not sure you'll get too much chattering on this road trip, but we'll see how we go. Looks like the rough element is still in the area, judging by that say-up with no number plate on the front. But yeah, the push bike I had was a rickety old bike that I paid 30 bob for back in the day, which is £1.50p in today's money, I suppose. And the crank that the pedals fitted onto was well worn, and so it was clunkety clunk clunk all the time. The chain used to fall off about 3 times or more every trip. But when it's all you can afford and you're only getting paid £4 a week as an apprentice chef, I suppose it's better than nothing really, isn't it? Today the kids all seem to have super bikes by comparison, and yeah, this roundabout or nothing like this was here then, and normally I would go straight on up across there and through the town, which takes about a minute to get to where we're going to go to by going all the way around the town here. And I hope you're spotting all the potholes. They're my pet hate, potholes. And if I'm wiggling about a bit as I'm driving along the road, it's because I'm trying to avoid the potholes. They play havoc with the old suspension, as you know. I was going to run a competition, and at the end of the video, ask people how many potholes we'd counted on the trip. But I thought perhaps people might not stick with that one. But you're welcome to try. And if you get near the mark, let me know in the comments what you think the answer is, and I will have a good prize for you, and it is a good prize as well. It's a set of videos, but very good and interesting videos. Help you make a few bob here and there. But yeah, all absolutely new stuff from when I lived in Maidenhead back in the day. Bit like everywhere really, I suppose, isn't it? Nobody knows where anything is these days. I came to Maidenhead a while ago and tried to park. Couldn't find anywhere. Unless I wanted to walk about a mile from outside of town. Even the main car park you couldn't get into. A little bit depressing, but I suppose they want you to use public transport all the time, a bit like in Reading. Got some nice flowers though. Makes up for it all, doesn't it? Not. Yeah, just down here, on the left-hand side of these lights, is where would have come out with my push bike before. As I say, that would have been just about a minute from where we left it off at that other roundabout. The station just to the right there. This big old roundabout wasn't here, and it wasn't a dual carriageway either. It was just a double lane road. Still pedaling. And up here, all new. It was just a single track road, which used to be right over on the far right over there, and is now used as basically a lay-by, I think, a parking area for the people that live in the houses over there. All this greenery wasn't here because you could look straight in at the Braywick Sports Centre, which used to tempt me every time I went past because I used to like my athletics back in the day. Got invited to join the Maidenhead and Braywick athletics club when I was at school, but never took it up. Should have done, I suppose. Yeah, over on the right there, that lane there wasn't even there. It was even further over the road originally. I remember coming down there one day and an old lady collared me. She was about 70. She was trimming her hedge. She couldn't get near the top, so she collared me on my bike. Would I cut the top of her hedge for her? So I did, and she was happy after that. Still pedalling. Cup of coffee. The bloke coming to this junction was a little bit impatient, but I think he thought I was going slower than I was. This big old roundabout wasn't here either. All this is all new. Because the motorway used to finish at Maidenhead Thicket then. Never went on down to Wales and Redden and all that. But, just over there on the left, if you look straight ahead now, the housing estate there that Halfacre and Young built. And I was doing houses on there on my own, doing 2 houses a week, labouring for myself as well, plastering that is, just behind those hedges there. It's now a ginormous great housing estate. This bridge over the motorway, there was none of this greenery here at all. I remember standing at the top here and taking photographs of the motorway, an almost empty motorway, because I thought it looked absolutely brilliant back in the day. They were new then, of course. And my kids have since seen the photographs and thought I was absolutely mental to be taking photographs of a motorway, which I suppose I was really, but at the time I didn't think I was. But coming down into Hollyport here, this has virtually not changed at all. It seems to be exactly the same as it was. A few more road signs, obviously, but everything else seems to be exactly the same as it was years ago, which is good. Too much change isn't good for anybody, I don't think. Yeah, it's a lovely little village. I think you've got to have a few bob to live here, but unless you're up on the council estate over the back. It always felt sunny riding through this area. I don't know why, but unless it was because I thought, oh, I'm nearly home now. Coming the other way, of course. Yeah, the old chain keep coming off was a bit of a bind, especially in the snow, the ice and the snow. And over that Christmas period, which was 67, 68 Christmas period, we had quite a bad old winter for a few weeks. And yeah, riding through all that snow and slush and everything wasn't much fun at all, really. Although you don't notice it when you're younger, you just plough on and crack on with it. And it didn't seem to bother me at all. I had my trusty transistor radio hanging off my shoulder, so I could listen to the pirate radio stations all the time. This on the left here, it used to be loads of really tall poplar trees. There's still poplar trees here now, but they're not the original ones, and they're not as tall as the original ones were either. And behind there, just there, was Hollyport Manor, which used to be like a special school. And when I was in care, a few of the kids from there had to go there regularly through the week and then come back to the homes on the weekend. And but it seemed like a good place. They seemed to like it. Just up here is another closed down pub. They do like closing pubs down these days. This used to be quite a good one as well. A bit strange, I don't know why, but when you went in there, it was sort of a strange old atmosphere. Perhaps that's why it's closed down. But yeah, we turn right here. That's the pub, or was the pub. Paley Street, I think they call this one. Which I always remember because there was a girl at school called Paley. Her dad owned a scrapyard. And so it always made me think of her when I was driving, look at me, riding my bike up through here. But not a very nice, I don't know, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the area, but I found it a bit depressing. That was one of the depressing bits on my route, this bit. I don't know why it was. There's no reason why it should have been, but especially as there's 2 pubs along here that are still open. Not as I can go to that many pubs, but I just think it's nice to see pubs that are kept open. And so it must have some good support from the area, so they must be a friendly old bunch round here. But for some reason, at the time, it just seemed a bit of a depressing little bit of the journey, this. They won't like me saying that if anybody living here sees this video, will they? But you've got to say it as it is, I suppose. It's one of them. Yeah, still pedalling, by the way, in case you'd forgot. Yeah, there's the other one. I thought one of them would have been closed down by now, but thankfully they haven't. Just up here is a road called Howe Lane, and I'd only recently realised what it was called, and it's a bit coincidental really, because right at the other end of this road, and it is a long old road, a friend of mine lives in a nice little cottage, and his name is Russell Howe, and I just thought, what a coincidence that he lives right at the end of Howe Lane, or Howe Road. Well, I think it's Howe Lane. Yeah. And this is a long drag of a road. But because it was a nice, relatively straight old road back in the day, it was easy to get a good bit of speed up, I suppose. I only had 1 gear on the bike, but that was top gear because I had the chain missing out of the gear change thing on the back wheel. So I had to pedal everything in top gear, which was really hard work when you were going up hills, but easy work when you're going down here or on the flat. That was when the chain wasn't falling off. Clunk, bang, all the way along the road. Yeah, this roundabout wasn't here, obviously. Can't believe how much it's all so bushy around here. These were all sort of open field areas back in the day, and you could sort of see right across everywhere. Now you can't see bugger all except for the road in front here. Yeah, my friend Russell, he used to be in care as well, but I didn't know him then back in the day. But as I said before, I used to ride along with my trusty transistor radio over my shoulder. And a bit further up, these 3 blokes, my age, that were also on bikes, pulled me over, wanted me to hand over my radio because they wanted it. And anyway, I was having none of it. And they said, well, there's 3 of us and only one of you, what are you going to do? I said, well, I think I'd recognise you all when I tell the police about it. They said, you wouldn't tell the police? I said, of course I would. So anyway, they rode off and didn't bother with it, which was good for me. And a few years later when I'm working, I got a call from a bloke who wanted me to do his plastering. And I recognised him. It was our friend Russell. I didn't tell him at the time, and he didn't recognise me, but I started doing some work for him, and he turned out to be a really good, decent bloke, and used to pay really well. and he was really successful, had quite a lot of businesses, and I presume he's still successful now. But yeah, back in the day when he was still in, I think it was an orphanage he was in, actually, not a children's home, because he said he lost his parents when he was very young. And but he come out of it, same age as me, 15, and he just went from strength to strength, which is good for him. But I wished he hadn't tried to nick my radio back in the day. Worried me a little bit each time I came up after that. I thought, are they going to be waiting for me? But no, they weren't. See how long this road is? God, what a drag it was. And still is. Still pedalling. Yeah, getting near the end now. But just over to the right, looking across from here, you just see the roof of a house, and that's our Russell's house. And yeah, it just seemed quite a coincidence that he would buy a house right on the end of Howe Lane, which is his name. Unless that's why he bought it, I don't know, I didn't ask him. But this was a good little bit to get a bit of speed up coming down, because there's a bit of a hill up here. It's not so good going back, mind. But coming back you get a good bit of speed up on the old bike. There used to be racing stables just up here, where we're going to turn right in a minute. To the left of where you turn right, there used to be racing stables there, horse racing, and there were several jockeys that were sort of 15, 16 years old, I suppose, and a couple of them had bought 2 brand new BSA Bantams, exactly the same registration number, just 1 digit apart. Got me highly jealous, and here's a couple of horses to remind you, although I don't think they're racing horses somehow. They might be, don't think so though. No. Yeah, just over on the left there, that was all open back in the day, and there's stables in there. They used to train race horses. But these 2 lads on the motorbikes, I got to chat to them, and they were a friendly little pair of buggers. But I think they must have had some good winnings to be able to buy a couple of brand new motorbikes each. Well, not 2 each, but 1 each. This was a nightmare, this bit of road in the snow and the ice, especially at night, because it's so bendy, as you'll see in a minute. And back in the day as well, headlights, bicycle lights, the front and back, had quite expensive batteries. And so, unless you were earning good money, you couldn't afford to keep replacing batteries all the time. So I used to have just a torch in my hand, and if a car came along, I'd shine it behind me or in front of me, whichever was the case, and hope they saw me. And the fact I'm still here means they must have done, I suppose. But yeah, this was a horrible bit of road at night when the ice and the snow. Well, even when it wasn't icy and snowy, and if it was just raining or anything, it was just a horrible bit of road at night, because you always thought something was going to clip you. Mind you, the cars were a bit more scarce back then. That's the old dog rescue place just over on the left. And down the hill here, coming the other way, there was this collie dog. It used to come out every single day as I came past and chase me up this bloody hill. I used to have to get a real speed up to get past the gate so as I could get away from him. Sometimes I didn't get away, and I'm afraid kick him in the face to try and get him off me. But yeah, he used to come out from just down here, near the bottom. And yeah, I'm sure he lived to see another day afterwards. Yeah, just in there somewhere. There was a bungalow up on the left. He used to come tear-arsing out after me and chase me up the bloody hill. Right pain in the neck. Or the leg. And just up here on this junction is where Russell and his buddies tried to relieve me of my radio. I still think about it every time I come past it, as you would. But still pedaling anyway, that's the main thing. Clunk, bang, clunk, bang, clunk, bang. Yeah, just there on the corner they stopped me. I sound like I've been wounded for life, don't I? I haven't really. It didn't really worry me too much, but it was just a strange little experience, I suppose. Up here, there's crossroads up here, and there's the I think it's called the is it called the Shepherd's? No, I can't remember what the pub was called now, but the pub's still here anyway. And after I got married, we used to come out here for a drink. The locals were very possessive and didn't like strangers coming in their pub. And used to get quite irritated when about 4 or 5 of us used to go stomping in there, trying to take the place over. But all good fun. I think it's gone a little bit more upmarket these days. But down here it's all changed beyond recognition. New bits of road put in, massive amounts of housing being sorted. And you just wonder where all the cars are going to go when people have to go to work and all that. They've all got to go somewhere, haven't they? All got to travel on these little roads. They certainly can't get through Wokingham. That's chock-a-block as it is. And Forest Road back there, the one that we came across, that's been closed off now. That used to run right down through to the Wokingham Road. But since they did the motorway, they chopped it in half. You can't drive through there now. But yeah, you can't see the house, and it's all going on over to the left. And now up here, there nearly used to be a junction here. It just used to go round to the right. But for some strange reason, I came to this junction when I recorded this video, and I caught sight of a red van coming past. I thought, that's a nice looking van. And I ended up following it like a dipstick. And yeah, don't know quite what took me head over. But yeah, I followed it up the road and realised I was on the wrong bit of the road. I thought I was going the right way at first, then I thought, oh, what am I done? Anyway, I've got to go on about a mile or so route to cover what would have been a couple hundred yards, I suppose, if I'd have gone the other way. Well, a few hundred yards, not a couple. And so an extra few minutes on the video here. So if you're timing me, which I don't expect you are, then you've got to subtract this bit of a detour out of it. But there you go. The other bit wasn't very interesting anyway. Just a little shoddy bit of road that winds about a bit, and then comes out in Wokingham by the ship. But I hadn't actually been up this road before. I don't know why I hadn't, but I hadn't. And I was beginning to think to myself when I'm driving up here, am I going miles out of my way, or am I going to end up in Winkfield or somewhere? But thankfully I didn't. Yeah, Norris Avenue's over to the left here, and that used to be a right rough area. I think it still is. And yeah, a few of the lads that were in care with me came from Norris Avenue, and so the odds of that are quite high, aren't they, really? My eldest son lived there for a while as well. He had a flat down there for about a year or so. The pub, Norris Barn. God, that's a troublesome place if ever you see one. You took your life in your hands when you went in there. I don't know about now. It's probably still the same because they've still got a load of roughnecks around here. I better not say too much, they'll be chasing me down the road. So we're now coming into Wokingham from the Bracknell end, and it's not changed a great deal really, except for the town centre, as you'll see. Oh my God, they've desecrated it, and it was a proper old school town. How they got permission to do it, I don't know, but they did. I think they call it regeneration, don't they? What they mean is social destruction. Yeah, that old building up front there, the white one, that's where we would have initially come out if I hadn't taken this big long old detour all the way round. The shipping used to be a Hells Angels pub, and me and a mate of mine went in there about 25, 30 years ago now, I suppose. We didn't know it was a Hells Angels pub then, and we went in there, and of course once you're through the door you can't turn around and walk back out again, and they were having a right old ruckus going on in there, and we thought we were going to be in a bit of bother, but they took to us and treated us like gold dust, and we was well pleased. Yeah, the thing jumped there because the video turned itself off back there, and I had to restart it again. So, but stuck in a bit of traffic here, which is quite normal for Wokingham now, because they're doing all this building a bit further up. I'll let the big boy out. Yeah, just there was an old greengrocer's, and I used to have to run out every day from the bush and go up there and collect all my greengroceries. Yeah, just there to the right, look at it, they've pulled down all the old buildings and that, and God knows what they're going to be doing, but anyway, they're on the move. And then just here, where you can see that white sign with the gold bush in the middle, well, that used to be the Bush Hotel where I worked in there, and somehow they were allowed to turn it into a little shopping parade sort of thing, which is highly surprising because it was extremely old place. I think it went back to bloody 1200 and something, or 1300 and something. But anyway, that's the end. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe, whatever they say, and yeah, that's the end. Okay.